Jochen Mass, you're here with Credit Suisse this weekend. Now, you're a long-time friend of Goodwood. Just tell us about your relationship with the racetrack here, and how many miles have you done around Goodwood?
Well, I would never dare to count them, but I came here early 70s already. We tested with the Ford Caprice, and I did my first Formula 2 and Formula 1 miles here on that circuit for 30s, and it was highly intriguing. There were two things to it. First, I stayed with John Surtees in his house in Edenbridge, and then we drove from there to here. John drove, of course, and he drove like a lunatic on these narrow roads. He wanted to impress me, I guess, and he did. That was the first part of Goodwood, what I remember. And then later, of course, the circuit was the same, I mean, more or less the same what it is now. But the pit was just some scaffolding and corrugated iron on top. You know, it was very simple, but I loved fast circuits, so it was good for me. And, you know, it always intrigued me to come here and run on this old history loaded track with lots of fantastic races, which I knew about, but I hadn't been here and I hadn't raced here and so on, so that came later.
What was it like to drive a Formula 1 car from the 70s around this track?
It's the same like a Morris Minor. I mean, it's got four wheels, it's got a steering, it's just faster. I had a lot of respect for the Formula 1s, because at the time, they were sort of big cars, it seemed. Now they look feeble and they look small and all that. But it was intimidating to begin with, a little bit. You know, I drove my Formula 2, which was very nice. And then I sat in the Formula 1, and I sat in it with a certain feeling of anticipation of this and that, and it was very special, and it was intimidating, as I said. It was something else, and then you drove, and then you know, you have the fast things, and you feel the car is totally different to Formula 2. It was heavier, and steering was a bit different, also a bit less nimble, the whole thing. But then after a few laps, it becomes normal, and then you drive like any other car, and so on. So it was just the knowledge of being in a Formula 1 the first time, which sort of did something.
Now, is there one particular race that you're looking forward to seeing this weekend at the Revival?
Any race is very, very special. I mean, you know, the TT is with the driver change, and to me the driver change is the most intimidating, because you have to get in or out of the car, and that's with my sort of, you know, you're not as flexible as you used to be, so it's a bit more difficult to get in or out. You just hang out and you say pull, you know, and then they drag you out of the car, this sort of thing.
Look forward to seeing that. Jochen, thanks for your time.
Pleasure.